All right, hello everyone. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and yesterday, the 17th of April, I did a preview video for the AWD1115 class, and in there I created a fairly simple 3-page website all about St. Louis. I gave you some URLs to take a look at. I saved the presentation, which was 2 hours long, and I gave you the URL for the GitHub repository. Today I'd like to do something at least somewhat similar for the AWD1115 class, which is database, Database-Driven Web Development 2. This is the book that is used for the class. It's Murox ASP.NET Core MVC, 2nd edition. And as we look through it quickly, and I mean quickly, you can see that there are 18 chapters in it. Now, I'm not going to teach the class, so I can't say whether or not you'll go through all 18 chapters, but I can with fair amount of certainty tell you that you will do all of Section 1 and all of Section 2. Notice in Section 2, Chapter 12 is how to use EF Core. Very similar to the stuff we've been doing. And I suppose the amount or the number that you'll do in Section 3 will depend on how the class goes. But what I'd like to do is to go over a few things with you. And I'm going to start right here on page 24 of the book that talks about how an ASP.NET Core MVC app works. And the first thing they mention on this page here, again, I'm on page 24, and they mention how coding by convention works. This is really the only thing in this first chapter that I want to take a minute to talk to you about. All right. Now, it says they use convention over configuration, also known as coding by convention. Well, what's going to happen is as you start to write these programs, you're going to have something like this. At least at first, this will be your setup. Now, remember the name of this book is Murox ASP.NET Core MVC. MVC is an acronym that stands for Model View Controller. Model is where you house your data. View is where you show your data. And controller is kind of the intermediary, the go-between the model and the view. So when you look here, this will kind of be your setup, at least when you start, for your code. You'll have one or more controllers folders. One or more controllers in a controllers folder. One or more models in a models folder. And one or more views in a views folder. In addition, this www root is where you're going to put all of your static stuff. Your CSS files, your images, your your client-side JavaScript, your Bootstrap, etc. Okay? Now, do I expect all that to make sense? Probably not. But they do go through in here how the controller passes information around. I'm not going to go through that with you because probably all I do would be to confuse you. All right? Okay. They talk in here about Bootstrap CSS. In fact, Chapter 3 in this book is a primer, or it's a regurgitation, or it's a summary of Bootstrap. All right, so Bootstrap ain't going away is what I'm telling you. All right, and they talk about some other stuff in here as well. All right, Chapter 2 is how to develop a one-page app. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with Chapter 2. It's well written. The whole book is well written. But basically what you end up creating in here, if I can turn up to page, it's 60-something, I believe. 63. You end up creating another one of these future value calculators. All right? And you do it using C# and ASP.NET. All right, and really, I don't want to say anything more about it. That's basically it for Chapter 2. You learn how to validate some user input, etc. Then chapter 3 starts, I think it's on page 83. And again, you'll notice it's an entire chapter on Bootstrap. I'm not going through that either. So, gee, Jeff, okay, you said you're going to give us an introduction. What the heck are you going to do? And that is, believe it or not, I'm going to jump right into chapter 4. It starts on page 133. And I'm going to kind of build this app for you and put it out there on the system. So it says, in this chapter, you'll learn how to build a multi-page, data-driven model view controller web app. This app displays data that's stored in a database and allows users to do CRUD operations. In other words, to add, update, delete data, and show existing data. To do that, it uses the Entity Framework core to work with two related tables in a SQL Server database. And I chose this one because it's very similar to what we have been doing in class. All right. Now, if I bring this up, this is what it should look like when we get done. This will be your main page that will come up. We say My Movies there, and it'll be a link there to add a new movie. We'll have, I put in 25 movies. You don't need all those, but I put them in there anyway. Each movie will have a name, a year, a genre, a rating, and you can go in and you can edit anything for a movie except its ID or delete a movie. Now, when we first do this, we won't have the genre in there. The genre will be put into another table later. But if we click the add, it's going to bring up a blank form. If we click the edit, it's going to bring up the form for that movie. And if we click the delete, it's going to come back and say confirm deletion for that. Okay, so again, hopefully at least, hopefully, that makes some sense. Now, in just a minute, I'm going to create the infrastructure, so to speak, for this program. And by the time we finish, it's going to look like this. Now, what do you have to worry about? Well, notice we'll have two controllers, a home controller and a movie controller. Just like we have been doing in class, we'll have migrations. All right. In the models, notice we're going to have three classes. A genre class, a movie class, and a movie context class. And for every controller you have to have one or more views with a, so this says home controller, so we need a home folder. This says movie controller, so we need a movie folder. In addition, every single ASP.NET app has a shared folder for your layout, and it's got a view import, and it's got a view start. Now, I could go through what all those mean, but it would probably not do much other than confuse the heck out of you. So I'd rather write the program and start to go through a few things that are in here. And hopefully by doing that, it'll make some sense. So let's start. I'm going to call this movie list, unless I have one named movie list, and I don't think I do. So let me grab everything that I've got here. This is a bunch of stuff I had been working on or have been working on. Now it looks like I still got something open here. So let me close this, and let me close this, and we can save, and let me try to remove it again, or move it, I should say. All right, so we've got nothing over here right now. That's good. That's what I wanted. Okay, so I'm going to right mouse click here, choose new folder, and I'm going to call this movie list. Okay, all right, now I'm going to start up Visual Studio. I have no versions of Visual Studio running. Now, when I do this, it's going to look a little different as far as what I do as opposed to what I've done in the past. What do I mean? Well, I'm going to create a new project, but if you look on mine, it probably won't be like this on yours, but what you have is Windows Forms App Console App. And then you've got Windows Forms App.NET Framework, Console App.NET Framework, and then Class Library and Class Library.NET Framework. Well, you'll notice I have another one here. It says ASP.NET Core Web App Model View Controller. If you want to get to that, just type in ASP.NET and you can put in MVC. All right, and you'll notice there's only two here that say Model View Controller on them, and there's only one of those two that says C#. So I'm going to choose that one and click Next. Okay, I've got it just like we've been doing, so I'm going to call this Movie List, and this will be the project file, so we'll call this Movie List Project, and we'll call the solution Movie List Solution. And I'm going to put it into a folder, and that folder is named just Movie List. In fact, let's call this, instead of Movie List Project, let's just call it Movie List App. I think that's a little bit better name. So I've got a project named Movie List App, put in a folder called Movie List that's on my desktop, and I have a solution named Movie List Solution. I'm going to click Next. I do want my latest and greatest version. Whether you put configure for HTTPS or not for this program, it shouldn't matter. So I'm just going to leave it there. Set authentication to none, and I'm going to click Create. Now, unlike what we have been doing, this is not going to bring up a form. Okay, there's nothing that comes up here. Now, just so you know, and you can start to see this already, we've already got controllers with a home controller, models with some error stuff, and views with home and an index and privacy, and shared with a layout and some validation and error stuff, view imports, etc. So we've got a bunch of stuff that's here already. And just so you're aware of it, we don't have to do this, but what we can do is we can run the program already. And we're going to actually get output. Should run with no problem. Might take a second or two to crank up. What's it going to do? Not very much. But I just want to show you that as soon as you go and create it, you do have something. So there it is. All right, there's the name of my Movie List app. Notice it says privacy here and privacy there. If I click either one of these, if we wanted to, we could put in a privacy policy. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that in a bit anyway. If I want to jump to home, I can click home. Or if I want to jump to home, I can just click on the name here. Either one of those will get me home. All right, this is my home page. It says learn about building web apps using, and this is just a hyperlink to an article someplace. All right, that's all fine. So that's what we've got in here so far. Not very much, and it's not doing anything really. So let's make it start doing something. Just like we have been doing, we're going to start by coming in here and going to Tools. And we're going to go to our NuGet Package Manager and our Manage NuGet Packages for Solution. Again, if you look under Install, there's nothing there. If I go to Browse, I've been doing this for a bit now. I'm going to type in Tools here. And I want Microsoft.EntityFrameworkCore.Tools. All right, I'm going to basically click that button and tell it to install it. When it comes up, I'm going to say to accept. And now I've got one of them. I also want the SQL server. And again, that is the Microsoft.EntityFrameworkCore.SQL server, the same ones that we have been installing. So if that's the one I want, I'm going to tell it to install. Again, I'll click the I accept. I've shown you this before. I like to then get out, get back in again, go over to installed and make sure that my stuff has indeed been installed. So if you look here, there's Microsoft.EntityFrameworkCore.SQL server and Microsoft.EntityFrameworkCore.Tools. All right, so that's done. So as a start, that's what we wanted to do. Okay, that's good. Now, fine. What do we do next, Jeff? All right. Let me, this overview here, I don't even know what this thing is. Do I want to save that overview? No. Okay. All right. In our models class here, we could get rid of this, but sometimes it acts a little hinky when you get rid of it. So I'm going to leave this here, but I'm not going to use it at all. But I'm going to go and eventually create 3 files in here. For now, I'm only going to create 2 of them. I need a list of movies, so I'm going to create a class in here in models. So I'm going to add a class, and I'm going to call that class movie. Remember, classes are named singular, and eventually I'm going to do a database first here and make a table called movies. All right, so this is movie.cs. There it is, and notice, unlike what we've been working with previously, all right, this already is public. All right, so I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to say that every movie is going to have, to start with, every movie is going to have 4 fields. It's going to have an ID, so every movie will have an ID, which will be our primary key, our unique record identifier. Everyone will have a name, so every movie will have a name. We could call it title. We'll just call it name. Every movie will have a year, and that's the year that it came out. And every movie will have a rating. Now, for some of these, you may disagree with my ratings. I just threw numbers up there. That's all. So let's start by creating this movie class. We will eventually modify this class, but not yet. All right, now we're just creating it. So I'm going to start with public int. Notice it wants to call it ID, which you can do, but I'm going to call it movie ID. All right, and that's going to be my primary key. Okay, then next, I don't want to call it title. I want to call it name. Oops. All right. Then next, I want to have a year, and that's going to be an integer. And finally, I want to put in a rating, which is also going to be an integer. All right, now one of the things that you will learn fairly quickly in here is that typically when you put your stuff in like this, a couple things. First of all, notice I'm already getting here, I'm getting a warning that says, well, you might have problems here, all right, with that being, null or making it nullable, etc. So for now, I'm just going to set this equal to string dot, oh, I don't know what the heck happened there. String dot empty, and you'll notice that once I do that, my warning went away. All right, so again, you don't have to put this here, but I'll put a comment on the side that says primary key. The primary key normally will either be called ID with a capital I and a capital D, ID with a capital I and a lowercase d, or the name of the class ID with either a capital I lowercase d or a capital I uppercase d. All right, now, a couple things. We want to make the movie name required. We want this to be a required field. So you must list that in there. How do you do that? Well, we come in here and we say that it's required. And we set up an error message so that if you don't put it in, this is what should come up. And it'll just say, please enter movie name. That's it. Okay? And then we've got our name with our get set. That's fine. And we're going to do the same kind of thing with these 2 fields, and we're going to add something else as well. But first thing we'll add here is an error message, and it'll say, please enter movie, I don't know, release year. Okay, so we've got that in there. And we'll put another one in here that'll say, please enter movie rating. All right, now that's all fine and dandy, but we'd like to give the user a little more information. For instance, we're going to put in here what's called a range check. So we're going to say the range must be between 1889, which is I think around when the first movies came out, and we'll put in 2100. So this should be okay for a while. All right, so 1889, comma, 2100, comma. Now I'm going to say error message equal, and I'll put in here year must be between 1889 and 2100, like that. You'll notice I don't have any errors. All right, and we'll put another similar range check in here. Of course, it won't be those numbers. For a rating, the rating will be between 1 and 5. And it'll just say the same thing. Rating must be between 1 and 5. All right? So now we have our everything that we need in here. Move this down. So this is our movie class. You can see all of it other than this. Okay? But if I make it a little smaller, there you go. A little, there we go. There's everything. Now you'll notice it's got in here a using statement at the top that says using system.componentModel.data annotations. That got put in as soon as we started to add these. Those are annotations. All right. And our class, which will eventually become a table, has 4 fields in it. An integer field, which is going to hold the ID. A string field, which is going to hold the name of the movie. An integer field, which is going to hold the year the movie was released. And an integer field that is going to hold the rating. Okay, so let me get that a little bigger again. That looks pretty good right there. Good. All right, so I'm going to do a file, save all. And for now, I'm just going to close this. Okay? All right. The next thing I'm going to do, and we've done this before, but we're going to have to do a few things in just a minute that we haven't done yet. I want to say that again. We're going to, in a few minutes, we're going to do things we haven't done yet. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add another class. Now this is going to be that database context class, but I'm going to just call mine movie context.cs. And there it is. All right. Now in order to be able to use this, I will need a using statement in here, and that'll be Microsoft.EntityFrameworkCore. We'll need that. All right. Now, some of this will look quite familiar to what we have been doing in here, okay, in the last week or two. And that is, I want to come in here and I want to inherit from DB context. And since I have my using statement here already, I didn't get any error. So I've got that. All right. And the next thing I want to do is I want to create a couple of constructors in here. First, I'll have a no-arg constructor. So I'll say public movie context, paren, semicolon, or I'm sorry, curly brace. All right. And then we'll have another one of movie context. And this one will say DB context options. All right. And I let the IntelliSense fill this in for me. Don't worry if it looks like there's an error. We'll fix it in a moment. All right. That says options. And then typically, wow, that was interesting. Okay. All right. DB context options. And then we want movie context in here. All right, and then options. Then on a new line, this. Okay, I've shown you this before, and basically what this constructor means is if we happen to pass any options into it, those options should be handled by the parent class. All right? So that's first thing. Next, we've got to put in our DB set, just like we were talking about. Again, this is going to help us in just a couple minutes when we run a command. This is going to help us convert, so to speak, our movie class into a movie table. All right? So I need here a public DB set. And you'll notice it's got everything in there for me. Movie, that's the class name. That'll be the table name. Get set, and we can't even initialize that. If you do, you typically will initialize that to null. All right? Now, you'll notice it's giving me an error here. It's a warning. So if I put an exclamation point there, that warning goes away. All right? Now, I want to add my data. So I want to add first the movie data. Now, I'm not going to sit and type. Sorry, I'm not going to do that because it's a waste of my time and it's a waste of your time. So I've already got that out here for me. I've got all my steps laid out. I put in 25 movies. Literally, I went out and just grabbed a bunch of them from imdb.com. I think I need that curly there. Okay, so I'll put it in and then we'll look at everything that's in here. All right, hopefully I don't have any errors in here. If I do, the system will show me if I left off a parenthesis or whatever. All right, so I've got here model builder dot entity. I think that should be movie. Okay, that fixed that. So let's take a look at what I've got here. Protected, override, void, on model, creating model builder, good. Then model builder dot entity, movie, dot as data. And those are going to be all my 25 movies, but it is giving me an error. Let's see if we can figure out what that error is. It says here syntax error. Well, I'm missing a there. Whoops. Try that again. So I did leave off, right there I left off a comma. And there's a blank line there we don't need. So that one's gone. And it says the name model builder does not exist in here. Well, it should. Oh, because I spelled it wrong. Model builder. There we go. All right. So the good news is, right now, we've got our class, our movies class. Not only do we have our movies class, all right, we've got our DB context class that we called movie context. Okay. And now we've filled it up with data. All right. Now, there's a couple things that we do that are different in an ASP.NET app as opposed to in a C# app. All right, we're using C#, but we're writing ASP.NET. So I'm going to do a save all here, and for now at least I'm going to close this. All right. What we want to do next is we basically want to come in here and we want to provide our connection string. So let the system know how we're connecting and what we're connecting to. In there, you use this file called appsettings.json. Here's the file. It's got a bunch of stuff in here you don't need to worry about. You never really need to. Now, will Mr. G go over those with you or not? I don't know. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a comma, and I'm going to put in here in double quotes connection strings. Notice it's pluralized. And a curly brace, a colon and curly braces. So in here, I'm going to add my connection string. All right. And that'll be referred to as movie context. Just like that. With a colon. And then on the next line, this should look pretty doggone familiar to you. Server equals. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and copy that from here. So server equal local DB backslash, and you need 2 backslashes here because we didn't use that @ sign here. So we'll put backslash local DB, okay, colon. All right, now it's giving me an error here, and one reason it is I don't know why that's here, but it is. All right, so we've got movie context server equal. We're not done yet. All right, so we're going to say database equal, and this will be the name of our database. If you look in here, I've got a movies database, a movies DB, etc. Well, this is a movie list, so let's call this movie list DB. Movie list DB. That does not exist right here. Movie list DB with a semicolon. Now, this is all going on the same line, so I can move this over, and I can move this over, but I'm going to have to make my screen smaller if you want to see everything in just a second. So now I say trusted connection equal true with a capital T, and finally multiple active result sets equal true with a lowercase. Okay, so that is my connection string. What I added here was the comma after allowed hosts and all of this. Sometimes you see this at the top, so you see this whole thing here put before the logging statement. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to put it here after it. All right, so this says our connection string. Basically, we're going to refer to it as movie context. This is our server name. This is our database name. Whoops, sorry. This is our database name. We trust the connection. And even though we're not going to do it, we could have multiple machines working on this at the same time. All right, so that's that. So we now have our connection string. We're not done yet, but notice I have no errors. That's a good sign. So file, save all, and now I'm going to close this. All right, there's another thing we have to do in here. All right, there's another thing that we have to do in here. What is that other thing we have to do in here? Okay, that is we have to go into this file that's called program.cs. This used to be split into 2 files. And I believe in your book, where is it? In your book, I believe it's around page, there it is. It has to do with what's called dependency injection. It's on page 145. All right, but they tell you, I think that it's in one file, but just believe me, it's in this program.cs file. We have to add some code in here. It's not much, 2 or 3 lines. All right, and what we want to do is we want to put this right underneath this line that says builder.services.add controllers with views. So here we're going to add this. All right, and it's going to say builder.services.add context. All right, and it's a little long, but we're going to do it right now. And it's that movie context. All right, and then we say options, and we have a lambda operator, and we put our options on the next line, and we put them within curly braces. All right? It's maybe screwed up, but we'll get it to work in just a second. All right. So options dot, now we have to tell it we want to use SQL Server, because that's our database. And we say builder dot configuration dot get connection string, and we give it that connection string name. And I always use my context name in there. So movie context. All right. And finally, at the end here, we need a semicolon. Now, it doesn't like something. Says that is expected there. I think that he needs a semicolon as well. There we go. So we added this. This again, between this and what we just added in our app settings.json file, these two things are going to allow the communication to take place. Okay? That's the best way that I can tell you this. All right. So I'm going to save this. All right. And it may or may not say this in the book. But before, we're about to go and try to migrate this database. But first, we're going to attempt to run the program. Now, I just want to make sure there are no errors. It's not going to do a flaming thing. It's going to come up and look exactly like it did before. But it's clean. In other words, there are no errors. There are no compiler or runtime errors in the program right now. Okay? So just like we've done in the past, I'm going to go to Tools, NuGet Package Manager Console, and here I'm going to say Add Migration, and we'll call this Initial Setup for Movie App. Now, before I hit Enter, I want you to see this. Notice we do not have a migrations folder in here. All right? We should, if this works, after I hit Enter. Now, if I get an error, that means I screwed up someplace. Okay, there's our migrations folder, and there's our initial setup for Movie App. And then we get this snapshot as well that kind of is showing what we've done so far. Now, in this file, just like we looked at yesterday, it's got an up and a down in it. This is the movies table. This is the schema, including primary key, and this is the data. They really knocked it down from what I had, but it's totally fine. It's the same stuff. I just spaced mine out a little more. All right. Now, to see if this works, I want to type in update database. And again, let's see if it comes back with it and it succeeds. Now it's adding the data, and it says it's good. So let me clear here. Let me make this much smaller. All right, I'm going to go back to my SQL Server Explorer right here. I'm going to refresh, and I want to see if I've got my new database. All right, and there's Movie List DB right there. There it is, and I've got one table in it right now. I've got this migration history table in it that the system keeps, but I've also got this DB movies. All right, I'm going to close this for now, and I'm going to close this. And first I'm going to go in and I'm going to look at how it's set up this table. And it shows it to you again in two ways. This is the GUI version. This is what's happening. So I've got movie ID, and notice it made it in identity. All right, starting at 1 and incrementing by 1. The name is an nvarchar max. It's much bigger than we need, but it did that. Year and rating are integers. And the movie ID is a primary key. I'm not even sure what clustered means. You'd have to look that up yourselves. All right, so we've got all that. That's good. So let's close that, and let's look and see if we've got data in there. So if I right mouse click on it and choose View Data, there are my 25 movies. And I just put them in randomly. They're not in any kind of order. All right? They're not in alphabetic order. They're not in order by year. They're not in order by rating, etc. So you can see, I'm just going to show you all. There it is. Okay? So that's what we have in there right now. Okay, so far, in many ways, other than the fact that we had to set this up using our appsettings.json file and our program.cs, in many ways, so far, what we've done looks almost remarkably similar, all right, almost remarkably similar to what we had done in the past. All right? Okay, so now we want to go in and we want to make this thing talk to the database. All right? If you remember what we want to have happen, and I'm going to back up on this just a little bit. I'm going to back up to page 135. We want the program to be able to, whoops, sorry, not this, 135. All right, we want the program to look like this when it comes up. This is our home view. Right there. All right, this is our home when we add, our home when we edit, our home when we delete. Okay, so we want to be able to do all that kind of stuff. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to go into our home controller. All right, under controller, so we're going to build another one in just a moment. But for now, we just have a home controller. So I'm going to open it up, right mouse click on it, and just choose open. And it's got a bunch of junk in it. All right, now, normally, this is what I do. I don't know if Mr. G is going to do it like this or not. But I don't use any of this logger information, so I'm going to get rid of it. I'm also not going to do anything with privacy, so I'm going to get rid of that. And the stuff on the bottom is, again, more logging stuff, so I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, now that's gone. All right, since I got rid of the privacy stuff, just so you see it, I'm also going to go down to my views here, and under home, I'm going to get rid of that privacy thing that was in there. It says, you know, this open your page to see your privacy policy. I'm not going to make one. So I'm just going to delete that. Okay, so there's that. All right, now it should still run. Should still run. If it doesn't, we'll fix it, but it should. All right, but it still has privacy here. So I want to get rid of that. And it still has privacy down here. I want to get rid of that. How do I do that? Well, actually in that file, it is here under shared, and it's my layout file that's right here. I believe it's in here. We'll find out. So in here, I know at least in one place and probably in two places, it says privacy. There's home. And there's privacy. I don't want that in there anymore. So I'm going to get rid of that list item that says privacy. It's gone. And down in my footer, all right, it says privacy down here too. I don't want that. Okay? I don't need any of that. So all I want it to do is say this, movie list app. Okay? I may end up changing that a little bit later. We'll see. All right. And the other thing I want to do, you don't have to do this, but I want to center this. All right. And boy, how do you center in Bootstrap? I think it's a text line center, but I'm not sure. So let's see. Let's look. How to center text in Bootstrap. Class equal text. Okay. Let's make this a paragraph. And we'll say class equal text center. Okay. And we'll put that inside of a paragraph. All right. And it says movie list app. We'll do that. So let's see what we just did. So file, save all, and let's run this again. It's just going to, I'm just trimming it down a little bit for lack of better words. So now it's centered. I've only got home in here. I don't have anything that says privacy. I don't need this either. We'll worry about that later. All right. But now I've only got home. Now, if I wanted to, all right, we could have also, maybe it'd be a good idea. I don't know. But in this layout file in here, now we just centered that using Bootstrap. How do you bold text in Bootstrap? Font weight bold. All right, let's try that. So we've got text center, and let's add to that font weight bold. Hopefully I didn't screw it up. So file, save all, run it one more time and see if our footer is now bolded and not only centered but bolded. It does not appear that it bolded that. Text center. Class equal font weight bold. No, not sure what I did wrong, so for now I'm just going to remove that. That's fine. It won't be bolded, but it is centered. All right, so file, save all. And let's go in and actually start writing some new stuff. So I thinned out this controller, and now I'm going to start putting stuff in it. Now, virtually all the time in a controller, you're going to need this. That using statement says what you're using here is from Microsoft. You're using ASP.NET Core and the Model View controller. That's where basically this, I believe, is defined. All right. Now, we probably don't need this diagnostics anymore because that was that stuff we removed, and we will use the models eventually. Okay. Now, what you do in here is you start to notice how important the context class is going to be. If you say, I don't know what you mean, please watch. So I'm going to say private here, movie context. All right. And we'll call it just context. And we'll give it a get and a set. Okay. So we've got that. Okay. Now it's giving us this, telling us it could be nullable. So we can declare it as nullable by putting a question mark there. Shouldn't hurt anything to do that. All right. Now, we're going to come in and we're going to create a constructor. Not an org. Okay. So public. What's the name of this? The name of it is home controller. All right. And we're going to be passing into that a movie context. Okay, and we'll call that just CTX for context. Now, there's two ways we can handle this. We can do this and come in here and say context equals CTX. Totally fine. Not a problem. The way it's done quite often. But that's considered the old school way of doing things. The newer school way of doing things is to do it like this. And putting it all on one line. So we replaced what you saw in there. In fact, I'll put this back. Oops. I'll put this back and I'll comment it out. All right, because either one of those ways will work. All right, but I'm showing you the, quote, newfangled way of doing it, unquote. All right, so right now we're just returning the view. All that's doing is it's returning that kind of ugly thing that we had in there. All right, now what we want to do though is we want to create a variable called movies and set that equal to context dot movies dot order by, and we'll order it by, we can pick what we want. We could order it by year, we could order it by, name, we could order it by ID, we could order it by rating. We'll pick the name. Just seems to make sense. So that's m.name. All right, and notice it wants to put in here a to list. Remember, we've talked about that to list before, and we mentioned how with that to list, that is getting the information back from the database and putting it into a format that C# can understand. Now it's giving us this, which says context may be null here. I think we can get around that, by probably, if we put a question mark here. Nope, doesn't like that. Yeah, it's saying it's a possible null reference. Question mark here. Nope. There's a way to do it. I don't remember what it is right now, and I didn't put it in mine. All right. Now, when we return the view, we want it to return the view with that in it. So for return view, we put in here movies. All right. Okay. You may or may not be able to tell, but we are making progress here. Okay. Now, this is the controller. It's kind of, for lack of better words, look at it like an air traffic controller, which tells which planes to come in on which runway, which planes to be leaving now, etc. It's the coordinator. It's the supervisor. So we want to be able to do the same thing here, and that's what this is doing. But now when we want to show this, and this is what we're going to want to do here, when we show this, then we're going to want to go into this index.cshtml file. All right? And I'm going to basically, I can keep whatever I want to keep here. I can rip out whatever I want to rip out, so I'm just going to gut it. It's all gone. All right? Now I'm going to start from scratch. So this is going to be returning a model that's going to be a list of type movie. All right? Okay. All right. And we'll put in here, we don't have to do this, but we'll put in here something that I don't really want to go over because, again, it's just going to take too long to go over everything. But I'm going to put in here something that's called view data. All right. and we will put in here a title. And that title will be equal to my movie list. And if you say, I don't know what that is, you'll see it in a few minutes. Just take my word for it. All right, we do need a semicolon, I believe, in there, like that. That's usually how it's shown. Okay, we don't need a space there. Okay, there we go. All right, now we want to fill this thing up. I can move this over. I could leave it right where it is, but now it's lined up with the other one. Okay, and we're going to put in now about 20 lines of code, save it and run it, and see if we've done anything yet. Okay, all right. You may or may not remember that MB2 that you see right there, that's margin bottom. And we don't want a sieve, we want a div. All right. Now, what this line right here is doing, the program won't work now. We've actually just broken it because we're referring to a controller called movie controller. We haven't written yet. But what we're trying to do, get back to here, is we're adding this, add new movie. This says my movies. I changed it to my movie list. So far we've done this right in here. All right, but like I said, it'll break right now because it's going to look for a controller called movie that we don't have. Don't worry about that. We'll fix that in just a bit. All right, and then what we want to have in here is our list of movies. So we need headings here. All right, and that'll be, we're going to put this as a table. This will be our T head, and all of the movies will be the T body. And each movie will have a name, a year, a genre, and a rating. And then after each one, we will add an edit edit link and a delete link. All right, so let's do that right now. So again, we're going to create a table. Class is equal to table. We're working in Bootstrap here. And we'll put in a border, so table bordered. All right, and table striped, so that every other line is going to be a little different color. All right. Okay, and inside of that table, we're going to start filling it up. So here's going to be our T head. This is our heading. So this will say TH, name. Year, rating, and what do we got? We've got name, year, and rating. Okay, if you look here, name, year, genre we're not going to worry about for right now. So just please pretend it's not there. But name, year, rating, and we need to add this. But notice there's no heading there. All right, we have to account for that by just putting in an open and closed TH. Okay? So that is our T head. Now, it's giving me a mistake. Why? Because remember, this has got to go inside of a row. That was my error. All right, let me move that over. And let me move these all over. There we go. Now it's fine. So now we've got our T head. We have to put in our body. Now this is easier than you might think it would be. And what I mean is we're going to put this in a loop. We're going to put it into a for each loop. And we're going to tell it, all right, we're going to tell it that we want to list the name, the year, and the rating. And then after the name, the year, and the rating, we're going to want to add an edit and edit link and a link for deleting. And that's pretty much it as far as what's left in here for right now. So let's put it in. So tbody. All right. We'll put in a for each loop. Var, we can call this whatever we want, but how about movie in movies? So this is telling it to go through our list of movies. All right, in fact, not movies, it's model. That's our list of movies. So var movie in model. All right, I'm going to move these over. You don't have to, but I'm going to. All right, now we need our row. And in here, we're going to have our data. So we referred to that as @movie dot. Notice it, and it'll know. All right, @movie. Well, it should have known this. Name, but it's not picking it up. We'll see if it, I think it will in a bit, but just hold on. Okay, so @movie dot name, @movie dot year, @movie dot rating, okay, it should be rating. All right, now we have to make sure at the end of this, this is where we want to come in and put these. Edit and delete. And notice they're both hyperlinks. We could style them as buttons. I'm going to do it the way they've done it here. So I'm going to style them as hyperlinks. There'll be 2 of them. Oops, right. That's wrong. That's @movie.movieID. And we want that to say edit. And I'm going to copy it because the other one is basically identical, except rather than edit, we'll want this to say delete. I'm not going to run this because if I did right now, we're referring to a movie controller here and in a bunch of other places. We have not yet written a movie controller. Since we have not yet written a movie controller, all right, since we haven't written it yet, well, this isn't going to work. All right, now this is going to involve a little bit of typing. And I will try to explain things as we're going through here. Again, I realize that when I'm doing this, all right, I'm kind of going through it quickly. But we've already gone over an hour. This is going to take probably more than 2 hours, so it'll probably be longer than the last lecture was. All right, for the AWD1115 class. Let me do a save all. And let me come in here to controllers. I'm going to right mouse click. And I'm going to choose Add Controller. All right. Now, there's 2 ways that you can do this. I don't think I've ever used the middle controller here. If I do this, if I choose MVC Controller with Views using Entity Framework, what should happen after I do this and create Movie Controller is it should come down here and make another folder in here called Movie, and it should have in it a bunch of stuff. When I tried doing this myself, I had nothing but problems with it. But I'm going to try it again anyway. So I'm going to say Add. And it says, what do you want to add? Well, the class we want to add, or the model class, is we're working with movies, right? Movies app.models. In fact, maybe that's where I screwed it up before. Let's look. That's our snapshot, so I think it's here. Okay. The DB context class is called movie context. All right, I'm just going to keep these and we'll call it movies controller. But when I clicked add, I got an error like that. There was an error running the selected code generator. Package restored failed. So I'm not sure what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and try doing it by just choosing MVC controller empty. All right. And I'm going to click add, and it asks me for a name. I'm going to type in movie controller.cs. All right, MVC controller empty right there. Add. And I get this. Okay, it's got this using statement because, again, that in here is what defines this. All controllers that you create all inherit from the ASP.NET Core controller class. And that's what this is saying. All right. I also want to bring in, I'm going to put in here using movie list app.models. I want to be able to use what's in here. Okay. All right. So let's start writing. Let's see, where am I here? I am going to eventually have to come in here, and in my views, for every controller needs a view that's got a folder with the same name in it. So I'm going to go to views here, and I'm going to choose add, new folder, and I'm going to create one here that is going to be called, I believe it should be pluralized, movies. All right. And for now, I'm going to add in there a class, not a class, a view. And it's going to be empty. And I'm going to call it index. And this is a .cshtml file. What the hell is a CSHTML file? It's a file that lets you combine in the same file C# and HTML. So let me fill this one up. I'm going to get rid of everything that was in there and write my own. Again, this is going to be returning a list of type movie. And that should be a little m. There actually is a difference there between a little m and a big M. I'm not going to go through that with you. Okay, and I'm looking at this here. All right, we'll do this later. How's that? I want to write the controller. So here's our movies controller. All right, so let's write that right now. We've got this, we've got this. Okay. I'm going to pause for just a moment, and I'll be back in less than 5 minutes. All right, I've decided to just come back right away. We're going to write this and go a little further, and then I'm going to take a short break. When I break, I'm just going to put this on pause so you won't lose anything. There won't be anything in here that's actually going to have a break in it, so to speak. All right, so we've got here our movie controller class from controller. All right, kind of like we did before with the home controller, I'm going to say here private movie context with a get set. just like that. And again, I think if we put a question mark there, yeah, that goes away. Okay, so we've got that. And we're going to have, just like before, a public, but this will say movie controller. So we're doing in here, we are doing the, this is our constructor. So we were going to have in here a movie context that you don't have to, but typically is called CTX. And we've got that. Like I showed you before, we could write it the old-fashioned way. So I could take all this stuff, get rid of the lambda operator, take this and put it between curly braces down here. It does the same thing. There's really and truly no difference. All right, now I'm going to introduce something to you that is new. All right, and that is the difference between this and what we're going to put in just a couple minutes. It might give me an error here because I don't have anything up above. All right. When you get something, basically you're displaying it. I'm being general here, but basically when you get something, you're displaying it. When you post something, you're typically doing some kind of a database action. You're reading or you're writing. All right, I'm being generic there, but it pretty much holds true. So in here, this is going to be my add. And you do what's called an I-action result. And this is when I want to add. So what do I want to do when I'm adding? All right. I'm letting the system know that we're doing an add. And we're going to return a view, but that view will be of type edit, and it'll be a new movie. What the hell does that mean? All right. We're going to use the same form whether we're editing an existing movie or adding a new movie. This is telling the system, yeah, we want to use that edit form, but it's new movie, so it's basically going to let the system know that when it brings that up, it should be empty. All right. Now, I'm going to copy this. In fact, let's just type. So I'm going to make another get here. This is going to be for our edit. So public I-action result, edit. Now, when we edit, we need to provide an ID. It needs to know what movie we want to edit. Right there. Okay? Now, remember, these are gets, so we're not changing anything in here. It's just what we're showing. So the viewbag.action now is edit, not add, it's edit. And here's where we get to come in and actually run a link command. So var movie equal context.movies.find ID. Okay, that is something we talked about earlier. We'll get rid of the red error in just a moment. All right, but that we're providing a single ID. All right, and if we clicked an edit, it should bring up the information for that particular movie. So it's going to return, boy, I don't know where my fingers are here, return view movie. So it's going to return that movie. Again, I'm getting that, and I'm sure there's a way to get rid of that, but I'm going to put up with having, like right now, when I run this, I'll probably have a couple of warnings right there. All right. If I can think of how to fix those, I'll fix them. I don't really want to take the time to do that now. Okay, here's our post. Okay, this is going to be a post. Remember, this is going to handle both add and edit, because we're using the same form to do either an add for adding a new movie or an edit for editing an existing movie. All right, so we're just going to write one routine here. Public iAction result, and it will be edit. All right, so we're doing that in here. Now, we want to do this. What that will do, what that line of code that you see right there will do, is it's going to go in and verify that the information that we put in to any of the text boxes is valid. And if it's not, it's going to throw an error. All right? If it's new, we're doing this. So if it's new, then movie dot movie ID is 0. There's no ID yet because we haven't created it. So if the ID is 0, context.movies.add, we know we want to add a movie. All right? Otherwise, we want to update an existing movie. All right, now we're still in here. This says we only want to do this if it checked everything and it's all valid. If it is, what else do we want to do? We want to call that save changes. That's what's going to write it back out to the database, and we want to go back to our home page. So we want to go to index of what? Index of our home page. All right? And that's if everything works. So there's an else down here. That means something was hosted. So what do we want to do then? Well, we just want to return to the page we were at. They typed in something incorrectly. So we just want to send them back to where they were. How do we do that? We say viewbag.action equal, and what we say in here is, hey, was there an ID? So if movie.movieID is equal to 0, well, then it's new, so we want to send them back to the add page. Otherwise, there was an ID, so we want to send them back to the edit page. Finally, we want to return that. All right, our error that was here should be gone now. We've got 3 possible null references. Sorry about that. All right, there is a way to fix it. I don't remember right now what that way is. All right, so we've now handled adding. We have now handled editing. So we've added, for CRUD, we've added create and update. What about delete? We've got to add that or put that in right now. So we've got a get and a post for that as well. So HTTP get, this will be our get for delete. So public iAction result. Notice it got a bunch of stuff that it filled in there for me. So var movie, again, we got to find it. Context.movies.find by ID. This is just grabbing it for us. This is not repeat. This is not changing anything. And return view of movie. That's going to bring it up on the screen for us. When we want to actually delete it, that'll be in our post. And that will say context.movies.remove movie context.save changes. Now, I'm not even sure what that true that's in there does, but we don't need it. All right, we're making progress. Finally, just like before, we want that, we want to return, okay? And we just want to return here to the home page. All right. So there's a few things we've got to add here, and that is inside of here, we've got this movies thing, right? But we need to put in there an edit and a delete. Then we should be able to try to run it and see what happens. So let's come in here, and we're going to add a view. It'll be empty. And this first one will be edit.cshtml. There it is. It always gives you a bunch of garbage, so we don't need any of that. And then I'm going to add another one right away into here. And that's going to be an empty view called delete.cshtml. And again, I don't need any of that garbage that's in there. All right? We're getting there. All right. Now, sometimes too, I mean, it automatically gave us this index. I don't think we're going to use this, so I'm going to remove it. And normally, oops, I should have chose delete there. Sorry, not rename. Normally, these delete and edit, they're capitalized. So let me make this a capital D, and let me make this a capital E. I think it'll work fine either way, but just to be sure. All right. So let's start by writing the edit. This is going to show us if it's a brand new, if we chose that we want to add a new record. So if we click that hyperlink, so if we click this, it should show us an empty form here. If we click this, edit, it should go in whatever one we clicked. So if we clicked it for Wonder Woman, if we clicked edit right there, it should bring up all the Wonder Woman information. And we want to make sure, notice in all of these cases, whether it's an add, an edit, or a delete, we want a save button and a cancel for add, a save and a cancel for edit, and a delete and a cancel for delete. So that's what we're going to build right now. So we'll start with the edit. Now we're going to put here view bag action plus movie. Now who cares? Well, you might care, and the reason that you might care is one of the things that we set before is we set the view bag, which I spelled wrong, we set the view bag action either to the word add or the word edit. So it should either say add movie or edit movie. All right? Okay. And there's one more line here. We're setting the title, but we're never telling it to display. And that'll display it. And this is wrong. That's the way you do it. Whoops. That's the way you do it. Like that. Okay. All right. Again, this is edit.cshtml. Let's display that title. That's what that'll do. All right, and then we're going to have a form. Okay. Okay, that should be providing some built-in validation for us. So if we say that a field should be, if that field should be an int, that we put an integer in there, for example. All right, now I'm going to put one of these in, and then I'm going to copy it in about 4 times. Another div here, little margin bottom, 3. All right, we're going to put 2 lines in here. This will be a label. And this is the text box. All right, so that's the information that we need right there. That is the information for the name, but I'm going to copy it a few times. All right, so we've got it for name. Now let's come in here and put in year. And this will be rating. All right. Now, what we want to do is we always want to have the ability to get to our ID, but we don't want to show our ID. So we pass in the ID as a type equal hidden. So it's a hidden field. Like that. All right. So what this is doing right here, all of this right here is doing this. It's setting up so label, field, label, field, label, field, label, field. All right. We don't have the genre yet, but we'll put that in shortly. Okay. Now we have to go in and finally we have to add here the buttons that are on the bottom. Okay. And the buttons are the same whether it's an add or an edit. So there's the save button. All right, the other one is we're going to set it up as a hyperlink, but then style it as a button. That should be everything that we need. So again, what we're building right there in Edit is we're building a form. That form will have on it currently the 3 fields: the field for the name of the movie, the field for the year the movie was released, the field for the rating for the movie. All right, and then to the right of each one of these listings, it should have a button that says, or underneath it, I'm sorry, a button that says save, and another one that says cancel. All right, let me do the delete next. And after we do the delete, we should be able to come in here and run this. We'll see. All right, so that's Edit. So let me do a file, save all, and let me bring up the delete. Now, when we delete, we're just deleting a single movie. So this will be model movie. All right. And in here, we're going to set the title again. And we'll set it equal to delete movie. Okay. This will not be very big, so we should be able to go in and do this fairly quickly. Something tells me this is model and not movie here. I may have copied it wrong. Model.name, and then in parentheses, model.year. All right, then a very small form. And 2 things in here. We will be able to come in from our edit. We want to put the same buttons in here, although we're going to, instead of calling it save and cancel, we're going to call it delete and cancel. So let me put those in here. So we've got those. And again, this will be delete. See, I spelled that wrong. It's the biggest problem that you run into in here, is making stupid errors like that. Okay, so file, save all. Go back to my delete, and there's one more line I want to add up here. Again, type equal hidden. ASP4, and that's the movie ID. Now, I'm going to run it as what it's telling me here is those are just warnings. I don't have any errors. When I run it, we'll see if I have errors. So file, save all, and if I did, I have to go back and try to debug this thing. Of course, I've got errors. Well, let's see what they are. Okay, it doesn't like this, which is on my delete, so let's see what we may have done wrong here. that's interesting, because according to this, I did it right from the book. Let's do this. I just want to see if it'll run, so I'm going to comment that out, which should get rid of that error. All right. We've got the same error here. So I'm going to comment that out as well. But this, yeah, that's everything. So let me try it. File, save all, and let's see if we can run it. More errors. View bag action does not exist in the current context. All right, so that is in our edit.cshtml. Maybe I spelled something wrong in there. I don't know. That actually should be correct as well. Don't know what the problem is, so I'm going to comment that out. I'm sorry, I don't know what the problems are with those. So again, file, save all, and run it. Well, hot doggy. It's not perfect, but we've got our 25 movies. All right, well, after this, I've got to get rid of that, but that's no biggie. All right, if I click edit, it doesn't like it. The view edit was not found. Use movie edit. Okay, so it can't find that, so I put it in the wrong place, or I typed it in wrong or something. That's okay. Let's look at delete. Same thing. Okay, so we'll have to work on that. Can we add a new movie? No, can't do anything. All right. The good news is, if you'd call it that, is our home page is now working. We've got our 25 movies in here. All right. So I'm going to take a very short break by pausing this, and I'll be back. And when I come back, I'll see if I can fix this. And then we're going to add that genre field in here. So if you would, please just give me about 5 minutes. All right. I hope to come back and fix this now. So let's see. First, let's get rid of that. Okay, that's no biggie, but let's get rid of that anyway. So that will be in our there we go. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's see if we can figure out what these doggone errors are in here. So, I wonder if this has to be movie and not movies. See if that's what the error is. Okay, so that's all I've changed. And let's see now if it works. It may not, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. So edit. No. Following locations were searched. The view edit was not found. The view edit was not found. Well, we have to find it. So let's go through that, okay? Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to go back. I'm not going to worry about those warnings, all right? But I want to go back and look at all this. So this is our edit.cshtml and movie. And if you're following along, it's on page 157 of the book. At model movie, string title, oh yeah, title equals, this should be view big dot action, so that's what screwed that up. Okay, so now I can say this, and that should fix that error. All right, and then view big dot title. Okay, form. So edits, post. Now it's giving me an error right here. Should that have an @ sign? No. It says view data cannot be used like a method. Well, you know what? Oh, these are brackets here. That's my error there. Okay. Edit, post, ASP, validation summary, all, class text danger, MB3, 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 name, year, rating, our hidden field, and this. Actually, that all looks correct. Let me go back to the beginning of the chapter. Okay, according to that, this should be movie. And that should be, and so that is MOVIE, MOVIE, that is correct. And then delete.cshtml and edit.cshtml. Should be under views, and it is. I'm trying to figure out why it's not finding this. All right. And for delete, the other one here. Okay. Again, that should be, those should be brackets and not parentheses. Okay. Okay, could be this. That's a capital D, and let's see if the other one is wrong too. Nope, that one is set up correctly. Now I'm looking here, and for whatever reason, like right here, that D, when I put it in, isn't blue like the rest of it. All right, usually that means there's something hosed here. This should all be color-coded, and it's not. So I'm looking here, form ASP-action equal delete method equal post. That's all correct. Input type equal hidden, ASP4 equal movie ID. That's all correct. Let's see if that fixed anything. And let's see. There's that thing for the name. All right, so file, save all. Okay, can we add a new movie? There's our add a new movie. Okay, let's add a new movie. We'll add Batman. In fact, let's add something that, okay, we'll call it Batman Arrives. And we'll put it the 2024, and we'll give it a rating of 4. Save, and let's see if it's been added. Should be down at the bottom. Oh, in fact, it's should be near the top because it's in order by this. There it is. So that worked. Can I edit it? Looks good. Batman, we'll change it to has arrived. Let's say it's not coming out till 2025. And let's try to put in something that's out of range. We get our message. Rating must be between 1 and 5. That's good. So we'll put a 2 here. And for the year, let's just put 25, which is wrong. And year must be between, so all of that is working too. 2025. Let's see if we can edit it. Batman has arrived 2025. Let's see if we can delete it. Confirm deletion. Batman has arrived. Delete. And it's gone. All right. The only thing I don't like is this. I don't know why that's coming up there. Run that. All right, it's showing this system.collections generic list. So it's right up above add new movie. That would be, is that in the layout? No. Oh. Well, it's basically working. How's that? I want to go in and add the rest. It is 10:30, and I want to get the heck out of here by 11:30 because it's supposed to storm. All right? So what I'm going to do next, File, Save All, is I'm going to go in and add a new class. So in my Models folder, I'm going to add a new class, and that will be the Genre class. All right, so new class. It will be genre.cs. It's a very small class. All right, and in here, I've got public class genre. It's only going to have 2 fields in it. Now, instead of an int ID, I'm going to use a string, and it'll be genre ID. Since I'm using a string, I am going to set it equal to string.empty. I wouldn't do that, of course, if I wouldn't do anything like that if it was an int. So I've got these 2 things. All right. Now they're not. This is not hooked up yet to our movies table. We're going to do that in a bit. All right. But right now, we've got this new class called genre with a genre ID in it that's of type string and a name in it that's of type string. So let me save that. Let me close that. I'm going to just close everything that I've got up in here right now. All right. And I'm going to go over to my movie. Let's put it in. So let's go up to the movies.cs class in here. All right. And down at the bottom here, after rating, we're going to add them. Okay. And we're going to put in here required with an error message. And it'll say, please enter movie genre. All right. And public string genre ID. With a get set, and we'll set it equal to string.empty. All right. And we're going to add the genre property to the movie class. How do we do that? First of all, I don't want to validate it here. It's going to be validated in the genre stuff. So I'm going to put in here validate never. All right. And I'm going to put in here public genre get set, and we'll set it equal to null. Now it's giving me an error, and I'm not sure why. We want null with an exclamation point. Oh, we need a using statement in there at the top. This. Okay. All right, so we've got that in there. Now, we have changed. We have added a new genre class. We have updated the movie class so that it's going to be aware of the genre class. But remember, what we still haven't updated is our movie context class. So let's do a file, save all here, and let's bring up movie context. All right, because why? Because we have to make some changes, I should say adds, in here as well. All right, so we have to add a new DB set in here. So public DB set genre, genres get set. We'll set that equal to null as well. Okay, so we've got that. Now we've got to add more movie data. All right, these are our 25 movies. But after those movies, we want to add here model builder model builder dot entity movie dot has data. All right, and now we're going to put in our different, not movie here, that's genre. So we have to add our genres. Remember that each genre, there'll be 7 of them, but each one will have an ID and a name. So new genre. All right. I could put that all on one line, but I just like doing it like this. Genre ID equal, the first one is A. I'll put them in alphabetic order. Do you have to do that? No. But I'm going to put them in alphabetic order. All right, so the ID is A. Come on, Jeff. And the name will be action. Okay, so that's the first one. Comma. Let's just put this in here 7 times. All right, the last one we don't need that for. So we've got A for action, followed by CD, and that's crime drama. All right, then we've got D for drama. I can spell. Then F for fantasy. All right. Then H for horror. M for musical. And SF for science fiction. Now, I'm not done yet. Why am I not done? So I haven't added, I've got to update my movie. Because now my movie is going to have in it a genre ID. So we have to update all these. So for each one of these, I'll need a comma. Then here, genre ID equal, not sure, okay, I was going to say it better recognize that. All right, so the first one, oh, I got to do them, I'll do them in order. Get back up to the top here, okay? All right, so taking it from the top, this is psycho, so the genre ID is going to be equal to horror, which is an H. Boy, oh boy, Jeff. All right, no comma there, but I'm going to just copy this down to each one of them. So, all right, then we've got the Matrix, which was science fiction. Dune, which was science fiction. The Silence of the Lambs, which I called horror. You may or may not agree with that. 2001, A Space Odyssey. I got to check on all these. See what I put for these. This was science fiction. The Godfather. And I said that was crime drama. You may or may not agree with that. Again, either way is okay. Black Panther, and that's action. All right, Interstellar, which was another science fiction. Pulp Fiction, which is a crime drama. Oops, screwed that up. Parasite, which I said was a drama. Raiders of the Lost Ark, which was an action movie. Get Out, which I believe is a horror movie. The Joker, or just Joker, which was a drama. Inception, which is a science fiction. Hopefully I'm putting in commas for every one of these. So if I'm not, I'm going to get an error when I try to fix, to set this up. Fellowship of the Ring, which is a fantasy. La La Land, which is a musical. The Avengers, which I believe is an action movie. Okay, The Terminator, which is science fiction. Again, if you don't agree with mine, or you could always put your own in here or whatever. Frozen, which is fantasy. Back to the Future, which I put in as a sci-fi. You could put it, have another thing in here and call it comedy rather, or whatever you wanted. Mad Max, which is also I put in as science fiction. Star Wars here, which again I put in as science fiction. Gladiator, we're getting there, which I put in as a drama. And finally, The Dark Knight, which was action. And finally, The Revenant. Got the wrong thing up here. The Revenant. What the heck? Come on, it'll be in there. There we go. Dark Knight, The Revenant. There we go. And that was a drama. I want to very quickly, and I mean very quickly, double check and make sure for each one of these that they're not screwed up. Question mark H, or comma H, comma SF, comma SF, comma H, comma SF, comma CD, comma A, comma SF, comma CD, comma D, comma A, comma H, comma D, comma SF, comma F, comma M, comma A, comma SF, comma F, comma SF, comma comma SF, comma SF, comma D. Looks like it's all right. Comma H, comma D. And let's look at these. A, action. C, D, crime drama. D, drama. F, fantasy. H, horror. M, musical. S, F, science fiction. I believe that's all correct. Now, what I have to do next, File, Save All, is I've got to update my database. All right, hopefully this will work without a hitch. We'll see. So I'm going to go back to the Package Manager console, and I'm going to try to do another add migration. And I'm going to say added, genre, table, updated, movies. long name, movies table. All right, and finally, I'm going to do my update database. And you can see after this comes back, I'm not going to touch it until it comes back, but you can see that it's put in this stuff, plus it's added the genre ID column there. All right, so if I'm going to close this, and close this, and close this, and do a file save all, and I'm going to refresh this, and I'm going to see if my database has indeed been updated. It now has a genres table in it and a movies table. Here is what the genre looks like in the designer. 2 fields. Looks good. And for the data, it should have those, I think it was 6 or 7 genres in it. There they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 genres. And when I go back and look and bring up my movies and first bring it up in the designer, you can see that the genre ID has been added. All right. And when I bring it up and look at the data, there's the genre ID. So everything looks real good as far as I can tell. All right. So I've got to make a few fairly superficial updates. And after I do, I should be able to run it, and we'll see if it works. All right. If I run it now, I'm going to get errors. Because, for example, in my home controller, I've got to make a simple add-in or a simple replacement in there. So in my home controller here, all right, where I've got my iAction result, which is down here, right now I'm doing this by that, but I want to change this, and I'm going to put this on its own line here. Move that back. There we go. So I want to say here .include m.genre. So we're adding the genre, and then .order by. And if I want, I can even put the to list on its own line. So there's one thing that I wanted to add in there. All right, that was the first thing. Like I said, just a couple more additions and we should be able to run it then. All right, so let's see. In the home index, all right, I want to add in here the genre. All right, somehow I screwed that up, but we'll fix it. So after the year, we'll need genre. That's the heading. Now we need to put it in here as well. Now this is going to be a little different. What do I mean? I'm going to show you. I can't just come in here and say movie name because it thinks it's from the movie table. I've got to say movie genre dot name. All right, and that should go in and add that for me. Now this got screwed up. I goofed it up, so let's fix it. Goes there, and I want just one dot. And this one then is movie dot rating, like that. Hopefully I didn't screw that up any more than that. All right, let's look and see. First of all, on my main page, do I now have a genre ID in there? There it is. Well, notice for my rating, I left another greater than sign in there. We'll get rid of that in a second, but they're all in there. All right, I've now got the genre, and what I put in there was the genre ID, but what we listed was the genre name, and that's good. That's what we wanted. Let's fix this. All right. Now, unfortunately, I forgot where that was. So it's probably in my index. All right, so the rating for the index. So let's go back to our index.cshtml. All right. There's the rating, so that fixed that. And before add new movie, this thing that says my movie list, that didn't appear to be working. Because when we bring it up, does it say my movie list? It does not. That's what this should be saying. So right here, okay, we have to fix that. This is now fixed, so let's see if we can fix that. Well, they called it in the book just My Movies. I don't know why that would matter, but let's see if that fixes it. Nope, it still isn't. So it doesn't like that. That appears to be the only thing that right now is not working. Can we add a new movie? We should be able to. We'll just put it near the bottom. We'll call it Zorba, so I know it goes at the bottom. And it'll be in the year, this last year, 2023, and it'll have a rating of 1. So this should now go to the bottom. Please enter a genre. Oh, we didn't add genre into here. All right, so that's in our edit. All right, so I missed that. Got that. All right, there's going to be probably a few things in here we have to add, but let's look for them. All right, first, because I only got up to a certain point in here, let's go to the add action method in the movie controller. All right, so this is action add. Here we want to change this and add in here viewbag.genres equal context.genres.order by G for genre. All right, I didn't add that, so that's one place. In the edit, so that's in the get. In the edit get, right here, I think we want to add the same thing. So let's grab that line, and we'll add it right here. Okay. Then in the edit of the movie controller, in post, in this else, we want to add it again. All right. And in the form tag for the movie edit view, we're just about done. So file, save all. Movie edit. All right. So in the form tag, is this? This is the edit. We might as well put this at the bottom. So I'm going to grab one of these and I'm going to paste it in. All right. And this will be label and this will be genre ID. This will say genre. And this is a little bit more complex because we have to list the genres. Yeah, that was right. This is wrong. All right, for class equal form select. All right. All right. Now, again, could I have made a mistake typing? You know me, of course I could. A couple more things that we want to add here, and then we are finished. I'm going to save this. I want to go into my program.cs file here, and we want to pretty this up a little bit. So I'm going to put in here another builder. This is from page 171 in the book. Builder dot services dot add routing, and then options. This will make all of our URLs lowercase. And this will put slashes between our words. I believe that's what this one does. Oops, I don't want that. That's why it's giving me the error. Comma. Okay, let's finish this. All right, I should have put a curly brace there. Like that. There we go. Now, equals true. That should have a semicolon. And this is wrong. This should say options dot append trailing slash equal true. And it looks like I spelled append wrong. All right. All right. Couple more things. That just says, again, that what I want to do here is I want all of my URLs to be lowercase and, when necessary, append a trailing slash. So replace those blank spaces, I think, in the URL with slashes. All right, this is our routing. Okay, there's our default route right there. And it says control or home, action. But I want to add in here, we've got ID. And then we want to add what's called a slug. Which is optional. All right. Then in the movie class, golly. I don't think I'm going to have to update the database because this isn't going into the database. But I've got to go to the movie class here. All right. And like I said, I'm not updating the database. So I should be able to just say public string slug. It's a newspaper term if you care. Name replace. And what I'm telling it to do here is to replace any blank space with a dash. All right, that's exactly what its role here is. Oops. Dot to lower. So name replace to lower plus another dash plus year dot to string. Okay, it doesn't seem to like that. So let's see, public string slug name question mark dot replace dot to lower plus that plus year. Doesn't like the question mark here. Says it cannot apply that to type. All right, so I'm just going to get rid of the question mark. Okay. And I've got to go back then. This is all from the last page, 173, the last page of the chapter before the end of the chapter. And I've got to go back to the edit and delete links in the home view, in the home index. So edit, delete links in home index. So home index, edit and delete links, which are here. Edit ID. All right, now this route has to change. So the route ID, now the route ID is fine. But after the route ID, ASP route slug equals @movie dot slug, like that. And then we've got edit. All right, so that's the first one. This word delete, that's all that right here. I want to move that down. And again, I have to add into here. There we go. ASP route slug equals, again, at movie dot slug. All right, and I can put the word delete up there. And I'll put my A tag ending one on the new line. Oops. There we go. Hopefully now that fixed everything. File, save all. Let's try to run it. Hopefully I have no errors, and hopefully it still works the way it did before. I still have to fix that. Add a new movie. AAA, year 2023. Rating 4. Genre now. Select genre. Okay, and I'll say it's an action. AAA, 2023. Edit. I can edit it. I can change the genre to horror. Make it 2022. Give it a rating of 1, and let's add another A to it. Okay, that all worked. Delete. Should have a space in there, and I don't have one, so I think I'll have to fix that. Right, delete it, and it's gone. So that's good. That everything appears to be working. All right. In my index, where I've got my two things in here, there's edit and there's delete. Let's put in here ampersand NB non-breaking space. Let's see if we can put in two of them. I don't know if that'll work, if it'll do what I want it to do or not, but I want a little bit of space between the edit and the delete. See if that does it. No, all it did was it took and increased that line, which I don't want. So we will take this, we will add it after the tag. Try that. And there you go. Looks a little bit nicer. All right. And if we do look at the URL, so let's bring this URL up. Notice it's got 2001. I don't know why that % sign is in there, but it's got A with a dash, space with a dash, Odyssey. All right. So it's got everything in there that I want. So this is all working. The edit's working just fine. The delete is working just fine. The only thing I don't like is this. I'm not sure why I'm getting that. Again, that is on the index. So let's go back and look at the index. Shouldn't matter, but you never know, so let's look here. I'm going to make that a capital I. Some of this stuff is case sensitive. Let's run it again and see if that mattered at all. No. So this right before the add new movie. And that is that in my layout? No. So it should be in here. Yeah, add new movie. It doesn't like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment that out. I think that's what's giving me the error. And right up above the add new movie, I'm going to put in an H1 tag that says my list of favorite movies. It's not, like I said, it's just a bunch of random ones I picked, but so it still has this. Son of a gun. Well, I commented that out, but I used a regular comment. I might have to go and use comment like this. Okay, let's see if that does it. Still is in there. System.collections.generic list for the movie list. That's supposed to be a little m. I think that's the problem. Let's see if that fixes it. File, save all. Bingo. Okay, there we go. So that is basically what you will do when you get to chapter 4. Now, what I am going to do one last file, save all on here. Close this. So it's called movie list. I'm going to come in and add my git bash here. Git init, git add dot, git commit -m, movie list, app, and I'm going to put in here AWD1115 preview 4/18/2024. Okay, so that's all done. So I've got to come in and make, I hope I don't have one in here called movie list already, but we'll find out. If it is, I'll change the name to movie list 2. Of course it does. So I'll make that movie list 2. Let's go back in here. Let's close this. Change this to movie list 2. Get rid of the git stuff. Bring the git stuff back. Okay, that should all be okay. Now I should be able to come in here, not there, sorry. Here, add that. Bring that in here. Let's double check. So git remote -v looks good. Git push -u origin master. And when I refresh, there it is. So this is the link to it. All right. Now I'm trying to outrun the storm we're supposed to get, so I'm going to do this as fast as I can, but I might have to complete it at my house, just so you're aware of that. So let's see. I'm going to come back in here. I want you to watch everything that I'm doing. So this is the note I always write at the end. I don't know how long this has been, but it has been about 2 hours and 32 minutes, let's say. I don't know what this will be called yet. Okay, and I'll put all that in there. All right, so you'll have that in just a couple minutes, hopefully, but you will have it by the end of the day. Tomorrow I'm going to go back again. I have graded everything to my knowledge, but I'm going to go back to the final tomorrow and work on my final. I'll talk to you later. Have a good day. Thanks a lot for watching.